move on to theme number
Oh.
2. You know, I just love to give you a bad time.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Yeah.
I'll pout in a minute.
Okay, all right.
I'm pouting under here as we speak.
Yes. There you go. Okay, what are we doing today?
All right.
We have got a really cute tutorial that Barb and Kyle worked on together for you.
Well, it was actually Kyle's idea.
Right.
She brought it up.
Right.
Yeah.
She brought it up.
Did.
That's what I said. I said Barb and Kyle worked on it.
Well, we didn't really
for you.
work on it together. She did it.
Okay, never mind what I just said.
Okay, just ignore her. She's the eye candy today. I'm the one that does all the work.
Oh, yeah. Are we going to get into that one again?
Only because you don't let me sleep at night.
She'll text me at like 3 in the morning,
No,
guys.
I didn't actually. I waited till 7.
She waited till 7, and then she's like, I had a 3 a.m.
idea.
idea. And I was like, Barb, you've got to go to bed. Jennifer asked, how do you ladies ever get any work done?
She doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
I'm just telling you.
Nothing at all.
And Jenny is the laziest of ever, right?
That's right. All right, guys.
Okay,
Theme number
ready?
2. We have a really cute tutorial
I think it's
for
in
you.
there.
All right, so we're going to head over.
I hope it's in here.
Let's take a look. Oh, you know what? Having to come to work and loving the people you work with makes all the difference, doesn't it? You know, let's see. Here we go. Okay.
This is what we're going to make today.
There we go. There we go.
What
Isn't
is
that
this?
is so cute.
It is a love letter. Look at that, because I can open this.
Here, I stole your...
Oh, yeah, I'm going to need that. Thank you. That button's a little
struggling?
stuck. Yeah, buttons. I like Velcro.
So
I'm old,
cute.
You know.
Look how cute that is.
Cute? I've got another button in there because I thought that was cute.
I love
another
it.
button.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is a little love letter envelope.
Hold it up a little closer.
And you can hang it
Mm-hmm.
on a door
Mm-hmm.
or on anywhere. And then you can, oh, you know what? Yeah, she got it for me.
Maybe you should send a birthday card to Rod in it.
Do you think I should?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Just a simple little envelope. I'm going to show you how to make this today because it is so fun. You can make a whole bunch.
I love it.
Yep.
Love it.
All right.
Okay, what are we doing, Barb?
Okay, first of all, I have 2 pieces of fabric. Can you see that? You bet you can. 2 pieces of fabric, and they are 15 by 8, and I put shape flex on the outside fabric.
Okay.
And then I need to make this cute little point up here. I'm going to move you up there for a sec. I wish you guys could talk out loud. Could you make it do that?
Do what?
I want to hear them. I don't want to have to read it. Can you do that?
No.
Oh, work on it. Okay, I need to make the point up here. So what I'm going to do is make a mark right in the center. I'm going to make a mark right there. And then I'm going to make another mark that is 2.5 inches down from the top. So there I've got my mark in the center, 2.5 inches down. Okay?
Okay.
Then I'm going to take, now you could, and I might do that because, what are you doing down there, Kris?
I'm looking at the questions.
Okay, because I have such limited space here, I'm going to put a mark right there. Normally, I think I would just take my rotary cutter and just cut. So you want to make a mark from the top center down to the side. And then I would cut this off. And then I would sew all the way around, all the sides, but I'd leave about 2 inches right here. And once I leave those 2 inches and I've sewn all the way around it, I'm going to trim off my corners. And then I'm going to have something like this. So I have this one all sewn around. See how I've got that? And then I'm going to top stitch all the way around, and that will close off that little opening I have right there. And then I will take this and I will fold it up to about 1 inch below the markings right up there. I've marked that again. I've got 1 inch from that point down, that point down. And when I fold this up, it's going to fold it up at about 5.5 inches from here to here. And then I'm just going to stitch again on the same stitching I had right there, across the bottom and up the side. And that is it. The last thing I have to do is put a buttonhole and a button right there. And on this one, I'm going to put this cute little red heart button. Whoops, flipped right off. It's too quiet, Kris. I want to hear what they're saying.
Barb, you never hear what they're saying.
I know, but I'd really like to.
Jeez.
Wouldn't it be fun?
Oh, well, yes, I would love that.
All you hear is these little boink, boink, boink.
I know. The fabric is really cute, isn't it, Vicki?
Cute.
I love it.
That fabric in the shop.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. There we go. That's better.
Okay.
We ready
So,
to go to... Okay. So, Barb.
Yes.
All right. So, we've got the envelope made.
Uh-huh.
And there's really just one final step. I mean, besides
There is.
sewing it together.
Yeah.
But Kathy says, you're putting in a button and not a zipper? Yeah.
I love zippers.
Barb is going to do something different this time. She's going to
am.
be putting in a button. And we're going to show you today how simple it is to do a
Now,
buttonhole.
if you wanted to put a little hang tag on it, like this one has on it, then you definitely could. And to do that, I would slide that in about 1/2 inch and stitch it down.
They're asking you to do the demo one more time.
Okay. All right. Let me start with
We're going to do
this
that
one.
demo one more time.
Okay, so there I have my two 15-inch by 8 fabrics. I have shape flex on the outside. And I'm going to line these up, and I'm just going to cut them both at the same time. And the reason I have my rotary cutter mat underneath me here is because this is how I would do it. Okay. I'm actually going to cut it this time, Kris.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. I hope that I've got this in the right place for you to see.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I got the center right there. I marked it. And I have 2.5 inches down from that point. And I'm going to take my rotary cutter and just, ooh, I was going to say that's a good blade. It's not. And I have my rotary cutter on there, so all I have to do, my rotating mat, is just flip it around. And I'm going to cut the other side off. Okay, now at that point, I'm going to sew all the way around. I've got my nice point on there. I'm going to sew all the way around. I'm going to leave about a 2-inch opening right on the side, and then I'm going to turn it. Before I turn it, I'm going to definitely trim down my edges, my corners, just my corners.
Yes.
And then I'm going to use my R&K turning tool to get those points out. And I'm going to press it really good. And once I've pressed it really good, that's going to be nice and flat. And that's going to look like this. And when it looks like this, and I've got it pressed nice and flat, my edges are all poked out, I'm going to top stitch just like 1/8 of an inch all the way around the back. And that's going to close off that opening I had right there. And then I'm going to measure down about 1 inch. And you can see that I have a little mark right there. About 1 inch from that point on both sides, because that's where I want this to come up to.
Ah, yeah.
But when I bring that up to that, it's about 5.5 inches from here to here. Okay? If you took it all the way up there, that would not fold down nicely. It's got to be at about 1 inch down.
Will
What's
you
that?
explain to everyone what shape flex is?
Oh, I love
There's some
shape flex.
questions on shape flex. What is it?
It is a woven interfacing. It's almost like putting another layer of fabric
It
on your
definitely
fabric.
gives some added, just some substance to the fabric, right?
Yeah, it does.
And we will use this oftentimes for hand embroidery as well as for machine embroidery. If you're having problems with puckering on your machine embroidery designs, try putting a layer of shape flex, it's SF101, on the back, and you are going to have
We use this
much
all
better
the
results.
time in embroidery.
All the
And
time.
even if you do hand embroidery, you're going to put that on the back of your project.
And it just fuses on, and
does.
it still has a nice give to it. It just is a little bit,
I
has a
really
little more
like it.
stability.
And I
right?
use it a lot in bags.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're putting a zipper in, somebody talked about a zipper,
Mm-hmm.
then this really helps with that too. Just gives it some stability.
Definitely. So are we doing it on both or just
No,
one?
just one.
Okay.
I think both would make it just too stiff.
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah.
Just one.
Okay.
All right. So
All
we got
right.
that done.
So we've got, and then how tall did we bring this up?
About 5.5 inches is the space from here to here.
Okay.
But I want to be about an inch down from that point right there.
Okay.
And the reason being is that gives that somewhere to fold over to.
Yeah.
You don't want it any higher than that.
So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put in a buttonhole. But Barb, do you have any tips on how do we know where the buttonhole goes?
Well, you kind of have to look at it.
Yeah.
First of all, know that this is already sewn down and my ribbon is stuck in. So this ribbon right here, and I'm not going to take the time to sew that right now. I'm going to put the buttonhole in instead. But this ribbon right here is going to slide in about a 1/2 inch before I stitch this down. And then I will stitch that down and across the bottom because I want a nice flat edge on the bottom. I want it to look uniform, and that's how I would do it. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my button, and I'm going to decide where I want that button to be. And in this case, I want it to be about right here.
That is so cute.
It is a cute button,
Oh
isn't it?
my gosh, yes.
It is really cute.
I love it.
And so I am going to mark, probably with the other kind, the friction
Like a friction pen, yeah.
Here I just have a pencil. I'm just going to put a little mark right there with a friction pen because I want that button to be able to slide through the buttonhole.
Perfect.
And so once I've got that mark on there, I'm going to take it to my machine and line that up with the red marks on my buttonhole, and I'm going to pick my button, my button stitch, my buttonhole stitch, and it will sew a buttonhole for me.
Oh my gosh. And I'll tell you, so many people are afraid of buttonholes, but I promise you, it just cannot be any easier. And
Most
so,
machines have a one-step buttonhole nowadays.
why don't you show them the foot, Barb, without it being on the machine for a minute? Let's talk about that.
This is what it looks like.
Okay. It's kind of a big, it's kind of
It's not bad, though.
Well, it's just a little odd, you know.
It is odd.
It's just kind of.
It's a little scary.
Yeah. It seems like it, but it's not.
It's not scary. It's not. And so right here, this, and most machines, like I say, have this where you can put the button in there and measure it. So I would put...
So maybe the right word is awkward. It's an awkward foot.
Yeah, that's
right?
probably a good word for it. And this button barely fits in there.
Wow.
And that is where I would measure for the button. And I would just leave that in there while I was sewing the buttonhole. But it doesn't matter if I leave it in there or not. I don't even have to have a button in there. If I just want to make a buttonhole, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then there's a little guide, a sensor guide that will pull down on your machine. And it will fit between these two right here. Because this space right here is the same as this space right here. That's what measures the buttonhole. So you're going to pull the little sensor on your machine. It'll pull down, and we'll be able to go over there and see that.
Barb, do we have the same nail polish?
Do you know what? I noticed you got a new nail polish. Let's see.
Okay.
I think
back,
we do.
Back to business. I was just noticing
I noticed that yesterday. And I thought, I want to see what you got.
Oh, too funny. Okay, back to business. Now you take a look at the
little
what do we
bar.
call it? The little bar, and that's where your sewing machine comes and clamps down onto. All right.
And so many people think, well, I'm going to clamp my thing, but my business is back here. Yes, the buttonhole sews backwards, so you're going to be sewing backwards. You've got to take that into consideration, right?
Okay. So we're
You
gonna
took my bottle of nail polish is what I think.
maybe so. All right.
Okay, do you want me to move over a little
Yeah,
bit?
let's come over here. Okay, so let's get this on the
put it
machine. That's it.
See how easy that was?
But there's a really important step to do next. And what is that, Barb?
You mean the sensor?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to put my hand in the way. I don't know if I can do
Okay.
it from here. But there's a little sensor. And if you have this kind of a buttonhole, you're going to see that sensor back there. But if you don't have that sensor pulled down, it's not going to sew a buttonhole. It's going to sew in place. And you don't want that. So you got to have that sensor down. And sometimes you think, well, I don't know if it goes in front of this, behind this. But just remember that this space right here on the buttonhole foot is the same space as back here where you measured where you want your button to be. Okay, that space and this space are the same size. So you want it to be able to measure your button holes, so you want to put it between here so it's measuring the buttonhole.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So now I've already decided where I want that buttonhole to be. And if you remember the button foot, let me take this off again. I want you to see this. All right, right there on the foot, there are markings. I've got red markings and I have a green mark up here. The green mark is telling me what foot it is for one thing, but that's the center. And the red markings are telling me where the front of the buttonhole will be. So that's where I want to make sure I put it in the right spot. Oh, my guide's in the way. Okay, I am set up to go. I've got my foot on. I've got my little lever. I don't know what that's called. A guide?
It's a buttonhole lever.
Oh, is that what it's called? The official name? Buttonhole lever. Okay. All right, I have my mark down here, and I'm going to line that mark up. And sometimes it's a little hard to see. So I'm going to put that down, and then I'm going to adjust it. Okay, I think I have it right where I want it to be. And I want to make sure my project is straight. I also have to choose a buttonhole to make.
Okay.
Okay, I am ready to go. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, I've got my buttonhole chosen over here. I've got my foot on.
I might be able to do a better angle right there. Let's see. I think I might be able to. All right,
you got it?
Come.
Tell me when.
Other way, Kris. Let's see.
This really is magic.
It is. I'm just trying to find where my camera angle is. Okay, there we go.
Okay, now I can take my foot. I don't need to use my pressure or my foot pedal if I don't want to, but I am. And I'm going to go faster than that. So it sews back, and then it comes back and puts the satin stitch over the stitching on one side, and it's going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm using white thread on white fabric, so you're not going to see it very well, but I'll show you the back in just a minute. And I still have my foot down. When it's done, and it stops.
Yay.
I just have to cut my thread, and I'm going to raise my guide up, my lever, and you know, it's up there. You don't even know it's there. You don't even know it.
Oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is.
Okay, now you can see the back
Look
side.
at that.
See how pretty that is? That's not hard to do. Anybody could do that.
I mean, it simply was the press of a button.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
It's really measuring, make sure it's in the right spot, and you got it.
I love it, Barb. Okay,
Yep.
So how do we open it?
Oh, well, I have my way. You have your way.
Do you need a seam ripper?
No.
Okay.
A lot of people will use a seam ripper, and that's okay. I just fold mine over, and with a good pair of scissors, I will just cut right there.
Up a little closer there. Oh.
Oh, wow, I was right off the camera. This is not really a good pair of fabric scissors.
No.
This is more of a thread nippers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I would just cut right there, and then I would take this and cut down there. And there is a way to make sure you don't cut through that if you're ever scared of doing that. And you just put a pin.
A straight pin. You need one?
Yeah, I've got one. Just put a straight pin right there. And if you had your seam ripper, you could just sew, and you would know that you would not cut through.
Because it would stop you.
It would stop it.
Yep.
Of course, then there's a dull seam ripper after that.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's it. As easy as that.
And then you're going to sew up the sides. Or would you do that before or after?
Definitely.
Probably doesn't matter.
I would have them sewn up before I ever
you?
started. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would put my button on here. This is how I did it anyway. I put my button on here where I know I want it to be.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how you do it, but this is how I do it.
Actually,
and then
that's how I do it as
And
well.
then with my buttonhole cut out, I've got my pin in there. Now I know where I want to place my button.
You can make a little marking right there.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I move this guy out of the way, and now I have a place to put my button. And I just sew it on by hand.
Hooray!
There you
go. Oh my
go.
gosh, that is so cute, Barb.
Very cute.
I love it, and good job, Kyle, on figuring that out. That is so cute. So come on over to help me finish this off. Deborah said, I've never sewn a buttonhole. Totally doable.
Well, we don't really use buttonholes that much.
We don't use buttonholes that much as quilters,
No, we don't.
but sometimes
But there are
there
times
are
when
times
you need
when
a
you want
buttonhole.
to.
Yes, and you can do it.
Exactly. So, there we go. Mary said, thank you, Barb. I've never used the buttonhole attachment on my machine because it's intimidating.
You got to find a reason to need it.
Good job, Mary.
And do it.
Oh, I love it. There you go. And someone else said, let's see, maybe Paula said, maybe I can finally not be scared.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of those buttonholes.
Definitely.
Just like the zippers.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of them. They've been around for a long time.
Jessica, you're so right. She said, use Kimberbell scissors.
Oh, yes. Very sharp.
Very sharp.
Very sharp.
That micro tip would be really good on that, something like that. Yeah. Let's see.
Your mom used to have buttonhole scissors? Really?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what would qualify it for a buttonhole scissor. That would be interesting to look up. Kathy asked, did you sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance?
You mean around the outside? I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Except, yes, when you go around.
When I top stitch,
sides,
I top stitch, it was an 1/8 inch.
Yep.
And then when I put the, folded the top up over it, I sewed right in the same stitching I had to connect it.
Renee said, I need to practice this, but have never done a buttonhole on my crescendo. Renee.
There's nothing that crescendo can't do.
You got to sew a buttonhole on your crescendo for sure.
There are so many things.
Yes. Sherry, that you're so sweet. She said, Barb, you are a great teacher. She is.
How sweet.
I always get confused when I do buttonholes, but your explanation helps everything make sense.
Well, so now you got to do a buttonhole.
That's right. We want to see it, Sherry. We want to see it. All right. Kathy asked, what is the measurement of the 2 pieces of fabric you start with?
It is 8 by 15.
8 by 15.
And that seems to be a pretty good size.
Yeah, but you know what? The same
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
It could be anything.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. So, all right. Let's see. Is the button too big for that foot? Nope.
Nope.
It wasn't. But you are limited.
Yeah, you are.
On how big.
But if you want to do a bigger button, you can do a 1-step buttonhole. Or a 4-step
buttonhole.
A 4-step. This is a 1-step. That means you put one thing in and you stitch it and it goes.
Yeah.
If you want to do bigger buttons, you can still do it. You're just going to measure and go around. It has the allowances for that. You can still do it.
Casey, you have a great idea. She said she could put gift cards for Valentine's Day.
Yes, you could.
Yes.
It's coming right up.
And like we said, you could make them smaller. You could make them bigger, whatever it might be.
But they're so easy to make.
They really are. You could embroider their name on it. I love that idea, Dorothy.
What a great idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of opportunities to personalize something like that, right? For sure. All right. Let's see. Larry's telling us to change our blades. Yep. Yep. You're right,
Darn
Larry.
We use them so much, though.
I know, for sure.
And yes, you could use Velcro if you wanted to, and then you wouldn't have to sew the button on.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to.
Yeah. Patsy says she's got to make them this year for her girlfriends. What a surprise it will be.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I love that. Great idea. So, and then Deborah, I think we answered this, but do you make the buttonhole before you stitch the sides together?
I did not.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But you could do what you wanted to.
Either way.
For me to get the placement correctly, I wanted to do it after I got the bag stitched together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you could definitely put it on first.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know that it really makes a lot of difference.
Okay, let's see. Put in a cookie and a Valentine note, Catherine said. That's a fun idea.
Saw Catherine today. She was in the shop.
Oh, well,
Hi,
that's
Catherine.
Cool. And Lynn asked, can you show us sometime how to do it with the 4-step buttonhole?
Yeah, we could.
That would be a great 3 at 3.
That would
could
be
definitely
a good
do
thing.
that. Mm-hmm.
Because, there's those big buttons, those really beautiful decorative buttons.
Yeah, you want to be able to
you want
do
to
more with it, for sure. Yeah, you certainly could use a snap if you wanted to. You could use Velcro. you know, there are times when I will put just no buttonhole, but I'll put a button at the top and a button at the bottom, and then I'll take like baker's twine and
yeah.
wrap it around. That would be fun, right?
Okay, Lynn said she's struggling with the serpentine stitch to use as quilting. Hey, Lynn, are you doing the Sweet and Simple series that starts up on Monday? Because if you are, we have a project where we're going to use the serpentine stitch as a quilting stitch.
Definitely. Oh, Betty Jo, that's a cute idea. She said you could make it big enough to put in a Valentine mug rug.
Ooh, yeah, you could. You can make it any size.
That's a great idea. Right. Very, very fun. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
It was fun making.
Nice job.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.